Tax day is coming.
Oh, no.
But if you sign up for Robinhood Gold's IRA with a 3% match, you can get up to $195 for the 2023 tax year.
Oh, yeah.
Sign up at Robinhood.com/boost by tax day to get the biggest contribution match on the market. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Robinhood Financial, LLC, member SIPC.
Hey, it's Kim Commando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to commando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. I always like to start the show with something interesting. And if you're under the age of, say, 18, there was a time before the internet when if you wanted to know something, there was no Wikipedia or Google. You actually had to go to a physical library and pull out an encyclopedia, or maybe you had to read a book, or maybe you had like that crazy Uncle Dave that you would ask him questions, or maybe your Aunt Lily, and she just seemed to know every single thing. But Gen Xers and older millennials are now nostalgic, they say, for the time before the internet. A new Harris poll shared exclusively with Fast Company says that most people between the ages of 35 and 54, about 77%, wish they were not plugged in so much. They actually miss the world before cell phones and the internet. I don't know. I don't miss it that much. Well, I've been connected for so long. I mean, gosh, I went to college for computer science, but it reminds me of this old joke. A man walks into a library and asks where he can find books on paranoia. And the librarian whispers to him, "They're right behind you." Could you imagine? Oh, that'd be awful. Hey, listen, I'm Kim Commando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again with the nation's largest, most trusted, just the best dang show on the radio and podcast about all things digital. And you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing is a tech thing now. And if you're a brand new listener, I'm glad you found us. And if you listen all the time, welcome back. You can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And you can find us as a podcast and as a webcast commercial-free over at commando.com. Just in the upper right-hand corner of the homepage, there's a big old yellow button that says Commando Community. That's where you can sign up. And yes, I did say commercial-free. And a special hello to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries who are now joining us on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you need immediate tech support, talking about somebody who can maybe log into your system and somebody that you can trust, fix your Wi-Fi, fix your printers, set up this smart assistant, set up a brand new phone, whatever it may be, I want you to reach out to my team of tech experts at getkimshelp.com. Once again, that's getkimshelp.com. All right, every single day I visit over 30 different websites to make sure that you and I are both up to date on what's going on in the tech world, and there's always a slew of things. And let's talk about the 5 things you need to know right now. I'm going to start with kind of a crazy story. There's a woman on Twitch by the name of Kaylee Carter, and she has 600,000 subscribers, and she goes under the name Just Foxy. And she streams her Fortnite gameplay, she chats with her fans online, and everybody's love her. But after May 16th of this year, she just went radio silent. She stopped streaming. Everybody's like, what's going on? Why isn't she posting? Well, they got their answer. This past week, she uploaded a video to YouTube. It was a man wearing a mask in front of her Ohio home, setting her car on fire. Wow. The fire quickly spreads to a fence nearby and then, unfortunately, to her home. Kaylee was not home at the time, but her mom was. And luckily, Mom was able to call 911. She told authorities that she thought the culprit was a cyberstalker, and Mom was right. The authorities found Farhan Jami near the scene, wearing the same clothes as the guy in the vid. He traveled 600 miles from New York to get to her house. Now, Kaylee says she's shaken up, and I mean, who wouldn't be? I mean, streaming should be all fun and games, but people are forming these one-sided, weird relationships and taking it way too far. Now, Jamie is in custody in Ohio with a $300,000 bail. Now, the reason why I bring this up is that I know that we have a lot of kids who are streaming their gameplay or wanting to be an influencer, and maybe you don't even know that your kids are doing this. This is really something that you need to share this story with your kids so they know that if something weird's going on, they get weird messages that they should come tell you. I always like to use the word uncomfortable because that covers a whole bunch of gamuts. All right, number 2 on our list, the War of 1812. Ooh, what's going on with that? British sailors kidnapped American sailors to work on their fleets, and it ended in the 1850 Treaty of Ghent, where everybody said, time to head home. The U.S. declared a victory for not being invaded. We were free from British rule. Okay. Back in 2007, the Maryland DMV created a special license plate to commemorate the War of 1812. They wanted to raise money for bicentennial projects. So about 800,000 drivers in Maryland bought this special license plate. Now, on the plate was a web address, starspangled200.org. Okay? It was a nice little site, information about the war. So what am I getting here? Well, there was something off with the website. It didn't take you to the War of 1812. Instead, it led you straight to an image of a busty woman in her bra advertising the Philippines' best online betting. That's right, on these 800,000 license plates. The DMV in Maryland, they got wind of this. They paid $1,000 to get the URL back. Now it links to the right DMV page, but just imagine 800,000 cars driving around championing the War of 1812 and the best online gambling in the Philippines. Gosh. Number 3 on our list, there was a horrible mass shooting this past week in San Francisco's Mission District. 9 people ended up getting hurt, and cops and firefighters tried to make it to the scene as quickly as possible, but something was holding them up. A self-driving taxi from a company called Cruise. It just stopped right in the middle of fire trucks, ambulances, and police cars. That was it. An officer was actually shouting at the car with no driver, to move out of the way. And he yelled, blocking emergency, medical, and fire, you got to get out of here right now. So Cruise, the company, they say, oh, wow, well, the car stopped because of the emergency scene. It pulled over. The emergency vehicles could still squeeze around it. What they didn't say, though, was how long the self-driving car just, stopped, or what the car thought about the cop yelling at it. We saw the video. This actually happened. Number 4 on our list, tell me what you think about this. Online detectives have come across quite the mystery in the heart of Death Valley, California. It's this mysterious void that has been spotted on Google Maps. It can be described as, say, a green circle with sharp ridges coming out the side. And it's kind of an odd picture. There's a boat to the left of it and an army tank. Now, again, this is Death Valley. It's a desert, no water for miles, a dirt mound, right? So a lot of folks are looking at it on Reddit, and they're saying, well, maybe it's super secret government stuff going on. I mean, you can see the edges of green going out of it. Now, if you do a time lapse on Google Earth, you can see it's just a patch of dirt in the 90s, a pool, and then it kind of turns into this weird thing like that's happening right now. My guess is that it was probably military training. I don't think it's anything UFO or kind of conspiracy theory. I think it was just something like that. But speaking of Death Valley, to abandon an ice cream sundae in Death Valley is to desert your dessert in a desert. Yes, isn't that clever? I didn't make that up. I forget where I saw that. Last, this coming in at number 5, the average typing speed is 40 words per minute. Now, the typing speed for a 16-year-old Florida YouTuber, Mythical Rocket, 300 words per minute. 300 words per minute, that's crazy. I mean, it's really something. The kid said he got to start with gaming and text chats, Discord, Skype. And by the time he was 13, he was already at warp speed, 130 to 140 words per minute. Seriously, you got to watch him on YouTube. It's like his hands are in fast forward. It's just nutso. Hey, coming up, we have some great tips if you're going to be traveling about sharing your location and getting crystal clear conversations, and also some ways to save some big bucks on Amazon. And of course, we have your amazing phone calls, and you have me, Kim Commando.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
Okay, Mike Perez found his passion in the world of tech at a really young age. He was about 12. He started building his own computers and became fascinated with programming. So you could say he just was like a little nerd in training, right? But he went down a dark path. He started to build card skimmers, which he installed on gas station pumps. And you know what they do? They steal credit card information, and within 3 days, he racked up almost $30,000. Wow. So his activities didn't go unnoticed forever. Back in 2017, he was caught, and Mike spent 2 years in a federal pen, an experience that he said was a profound self-reflection and ultimately a transformation. Well, today Mike has turned a new leaf. He's using his tech expertise to help others. He's actually serving as a counter-skimming consultant with Unchained Leadership and Consulting. And in this role, he's designing tools and strats to prevent and detect the type of fraud that he was once involved in. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for coming on and willingness to share your story with us. But let's start at the beginning. Let's make sure that everybody's on the same page. Tell everybody what a skimmer does and what they look like.
Well, first off, thank you for having me on your show. And so a skimmer, they come in all different shapes and sizes. It's pretty much to the imagination of whoever creates them. So the ones I was making, they would go inside gas pumps. It was a small electronic board, and it'd go attached to the card reader inside the gas pump. And what it would do is take the information off the mag stripe in order for me to clone, make a duplicate card with that information.
And so all totaled, how much did you actually skim?
Oh, I lost. It'd be a hard number, but on average, I did it for almost 2 years. Maybe on average, I was doing about anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 card numbers a month.
Was there a particular pump that you would pick, like maybe one not closest to the convenience store or maybe one on the outside so that this way maybe it didn't garner all the attention?
No. Here's the thing. When I was installing these skimmers, they don't work on every gas station. I was installing them on gas stations who didn't have their securities updated, older style gas station pumps.
Oh,
so
okay.
Honestly, for me, it wasn't like I could go to every single gas station and put a skimmer in there. So I had to find a skimmer in a gas station. I mean, find a gas pump that I could put my skimmer in, and I wanted to maximize how many numbers I collected. So I would go and look at the view of the gas station, just park at a different angle before I enter it and see, okay, this is where the most traffic is going to be.
And so how did you come up with the idea to do a card skimmer anyway? That's actually pretty ingenious.
Here, the way I grew up, the environment I grew up in, we used to just think about ways of how to make quick money or big amounts of money. It wasn't really about quick. It was just try to get something so we could have nice stuff or I was approached by somebody who I grew up with, and he offered me, he told me, hey, this is what's going on now. This is the new thing. We could make a lot of money. All you have to do is make some skimmers and sit back, and I'll sell them for you. I have the clientele for it. Back then, a skimmer would go for around $3,500.
Wow, that's a lot of money, but you would make that back. I mean, obviously the person would have a good return on investment, right?
I mean, if with one card, you could get that money back. And on average, each skimmer would give you, on a good pump, on average weekly, would give you about anywhere from 100 to 300 numbers. So just one. All you need is one number to get that money back.
That's it. Wow. And so then once you got the credit card numbers, you cloned the card?
I had set up like a lab in my house, and I got printers, the same ones they use on DMV, printers for putting the holograms on it, for embossing them. And I would make photo IDs for the group of people I was working with, for myself, and make a card with the outside would say whatever name I would make up.
And then you'd use those credit cards to buy stuff?
So at that time, we would go to either Nordstrom, do gift cards, a lot of gift cards, especially like Visa, MasterCard, because we could turn that into money orders because I had a PIN number attached to it too. And that's what I was doing at first. Eventually, I was able to make my own skimmers where I could capture the PIN pad entry, and I would with the PIN numbers, whatever cards I had PIN numbers for, I would pull out cash or make money orders. Like go to a little like small grocery stores, and since you could do it with a debit card, I would do a money order at first it was like I could do money orders up to $1,500, and pull out cash, and that's how I'd use it for.
Wow. I mean, that's a pretty elaborate scheme. I mean, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts with this, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff involved. I spent a lot of time. I thought it was going to be easier, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, but I mean, I dedicated myself full time to it, and I made it work.
So how did you get caught?
I sent an email to another credit card manufacturer that was out of Miami, Florida too, and they were being surveilling. They were surveilling them, and I didn't know at the time. And probably like a year later, they showed up to my doorstep based off that email that I sent to them. But I wasn't surprised. I knew eventually it was going to catch up to me.
And so, knowing everything that you know, what are people supposed to do? I mean, what are they supposed to look for when they go to pump gas or they go to an ATM? And what are some telltale signs that there may be a scam?
Honestly, it's really hard to tell with the way, because like, let's go with gas station skimmers. They're inside the pump. Like, a lot of people think there's going to be overlays and something that you could pull on or tug on. That is the case on some gas stations, but the ones that I was installing there, and they're still installing right now, they're inside. There's no way of you knowing.
Well, you certainly are helping a lot of people out, because I don't know if many people really realize how prevalent the skimmers are and how it's not that whiz-bang tech as we used to think it was once, a long time ago. But, thanks for being here. Thanks for telling your story. Super interesting, and words of advice for everybody that, if you're going to be getting gas or even ATM, maybe you want to go inside. I know it's old school, but go ahead and buy yourself a cup of coffee at the same time. Thanks again, Mike, for being here.
Okay, thank you so much for having me.
All right, if you're a dog lover, how would you like to make $3,000 a month by renting out your backyard? That's right, it's a side hustle. What you do is you rent your backyard as a dog park using the app Sniff Spot. It sounds a little kooky. I mean, why would somebody want to get into your backyard? Maybe they're traveling and they need a place for Fido to unwind, or maybe they live in an apartment and they need some space. So again, it's sniffspot.com or the app Sniff Spot. And I found backyards near me with a hammock. They were like $20 an hour. I found one that I could rent for $300 a month for a couple hours a week. So if you have a big backyard and you don't mind picking up dog poop, okay, that's part of the deal, I guess, is that you could be making money with that backyard right now. Hey, listen, we have more phone calls and more of me coming up you don't want to miss.
This episode is brought to you by Kia's first 3-row, all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute and available lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
All right, before we start more of your phone calls, and we have some great tips to pass along, including how to get crystal clear conversations on your iPhone. Let's say you're traveling this summer, and you're traveling with a whole bunch of people, and you're like, oh gosh, I don't know where they are, and I don't know really where I'm located either. Fear not, Google Maps can save the day. To find your friends, just drop a pin of your location on Google Maps and share it through a text. It's super easy. Just make sure your location is turned on and accurate. Then you find that blue dot on the map that represents your location. Just give it a little tap. That'll bring up the location details, and you'll see a button that says Share Your Location. Just click that button, and then you're prompted to choose how long you want to share your location and which app you want to share it through. After that, just pick the person you want to share it with, and then hit Send. And then your friends are going to get a notification with a link, real time, of where you are on Google Maps. And so next time you get lost in a crowd, don't panic, just drop a pin. Matt in Chicago, Illinois.
I am part of a leadership team at a local church, and we are now having another church come in and use some of our space, some of our rooms, and we'd like to be able to coordinate a schedule where they can submit to us, hey, we need this room on this date for this time, and bring it into a master calendar for the entire building. And I'm wondering if there are good apps or good programs that we could look at to help us schedule the building over time.
Well, you have a couple of ways to do it. You could certainly use Google Calendar. And I like Google Calendar because it just works and it allows you to have all these different calendars. And so you could have one master calendar that only you see, and then you could have underneath that you could see which rooms are being scheduled and who's actually in there. You could even color code these. And so by whoever is renting it, maybe they're a blue or a red or a pink or whatever it may be. So at a glance, you can see exactly what's going on. A lot of office buildings and companies use Google Calendar for room reservations just within their own facility. And it's pretty robust. And so you create separate calendars for different organizations, and then you can share them with those folks. And then you can also manage event requests. And then it has all these back-end reporting tools that can be accessed through the app, Google Calendar app, as well as on your PC or Mac or whatever app that you're using, or whatever device that you're using, whatever platform that you're using. And also, it's very simple to use. Okay, so it's not going to require a lot of training. And then in addition to that, you can have it set up reminders. So let's say somebody rents, a room B, and maybe you could set it up so that whoever is going to be in charge of room B, they get a notification 24 hours beforehand, and that if they need to confirm it, or they need to let you know that they're not going to use it, or maybe they need a bigger room, or whatever it may be. And so it will automate a lot of these things. And you can also put this calendar on your website, and so people can see when the rooms are available, and they can also work with other platforms, and so they can actually maybe reserve this themselves. Now, if you're looking for something more oriented towards a church, are you looking more for that?
Really, just a management platform for the buildings, like you described.
Oh, okay. Then I would use the Google Calendar app. And just on a side note, let me tell you about two others that if you sit there and you're like 6 months from now, you're like, gosh, I wish we had fill in the blank, right?
Sure.
That like one is called Planning Center. It's at planningscenter.com. And it's really geared towards a church. It does event facility scheduling, community organization. You can process donations. They have volunteer and child check-ins, event sign-up, registrations, payments, service planning, volunteer scheduling. So they have these all-encompassing. And part of this is also room scheduling. Another one's called Church Suite. And it does pretty much the same thing, but I don't think it's as robust as Planning Center from just looking at their website. What I like about Planning Center is that it allows you to pick and choose which of these features that you'd like to use. So you don't have to pay for the whole caboodle if you're not going to use it. You just pick and choose for maybe I just want calendars, or maybe I just want people, membership management, or whatever it may be, versus Church Suite makes you buy the whole thing. So if the Google Calendar doesn't work out for you, Matt, just know that there are these other options, and thank you for your call. There are some innovative ways to use Google Calendar that you may not have thought of in the past. Like, for example, project management. You can set up different calendars for different projects and then share them with the team members so everyone can stay on the same page with deadlines and timelines. You can also set up goal tracking by marking a time slot every day or every week to work towards those goals. And then Google Calendar can send you reminders and then actually visually track that progress. You can block out time, say for creative work, administrative tasks, meetings, whatever it may be. You can put your fitness schedule on Google Calendar. You can do meal planning. You can put a learning schedule. You can even put your social media content right on the calendar. A family organizer, that's great so for chores, outings, summer camp, who's driving Johnny back and forth, doctor's appointments. You can set up recurring bill payment reminders on a Google Calendar. You can set up book club, TV show releases, your gardening calendar, when to plant, prune, harvest. So the bottom line I just want to pass along is that Google Calendar, yeah, it's free. And yes, it's really good for keeping track of your appointments and maybe rooms. But there may be other things that you could be using it for that you just may never have thought of in the past. And that's why I'm here. All right, let's say you're on an important call, but you're in a noisy place and your friend can't hear what you're saying. It's so annoying. Now, if you have an iPhone, here's an innovative solution. It's called the voice isolation mode, and it works like this. All that background noise that gets in the way of your conversation is just blocked out. So leaving just your voice to come through crystal clear. It's really amazing. No more struggling to talk to mom over the sound of the lawnmower or trying to chat with your buddy while a jackhammer's going off next to you or maybe a leaf blower. So how do you use it? It's really simple. You just dial up whoever you want to talk to and wait for them to pick up. Then you swipe down from the top right of your screen. When you do that, up pops the control center. Now here's where the magic happens. You want to find a button that's labeled Mic Mode, M-I-C mode, Mic Mode. You tap on it, and then you have two options, standard or voice isolation. Now, obviously, we're going to choose voice isolation, and then just boom, you're just good to go. Now your voice is crystal clear. Now, the feature will stay activated for the whole duration of your call. I wish there was a way that you could just leave that on all the time, but you just can't. So what you do is you swipe down again. From the top right of your screen in the control center, you're going to find mic mode, and then from there, you're going to choose voice isolation. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls, as well as how to buy secondhand the smart way on Amazon.com. You're going to save some big bucks here on Kim Commando today.
Tax day is coming.
Oh, no.
But if you sign up for Robinhood Gold's IRA with a 3% match, you can get up to $195 for the 2023 tax year.
Oh, yeah.
Sign up at Robinhood.com/boost by tax day to get the biggest contribution match on the market. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Robinhood Financial, LLC, member SIPC.
You know, I'm so jazzed by our newsletters and all the fabulous feedback that we've been getting. All the thumbs up. I mean, I'm talking like, 35,000 thumbs up. People just love them, and 800 thumbs down, which I don't understand, which I'd like to call each and every one of you folks saying, why don't you love it? Maybe you just don't like change, and I get that. But the new newsletters are amazing. Everything that you want to read is self-contained within this newsletter. And over 400,000 folks are getting these newsletters every single day, and you should be getting them too, because here's what happens. Every morning, I start at around 5 or 6 a.m., and I go through all the various tech websites, about 30 different websites, and I pick and choose just what you need to know that day, just what I think is the most important, whether it's a data breach, maybe there's a class action settlement, maybe it's just a great tip, maybe it's a video, whatever it is to keep you up to date about what's going on in the tech world. So whether it's artificial intelligence or new products, or maybe there's a glitch, or maybe there's a lawsuit with big tech, I put it all in there for you so you get it every single morning. And all of that takes less than 5 minutes to read. It takes me an hour or more to put together, but it takes less than 5 minutes to read, which is, I think, the important part. And there's just one ad in it. So if you haven't tried our newsletters, please do it right now. Head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com, 100% free at getkim.com. Hal in Columbia, South Carolina.
Hey, Kim. How are you? It's nice talking to you.
Well, thank you for your call. What's going on?
Love your radio show. In fact, I wrote down a couple of little things, but I love your way of just casually speaking with every caller, and your creativity. I kind of hesitate to say it, but I said you're just really smart.
Oh, thank you.
You really are.
Thank you.
But my simple question was, we bought a new laptop. I've actually had it for about a year now. It's an HP. I bought it from Costco, and I don't really have a large need for Microsoft Office. Just simple needs. It's just at-home stuff. A lot of with my church, Word documents, that sort of thing. So, just was wondering, were there other options other than paying $100 a year for the Microsoft 365,
sure.
which used to be the kind of the norm. Now you got to pay $100 a year. And my friend Kim Commando, I was listening to you, and you said, yeah, there's a Google Office thing out there, and so that was my question.
Well, yes, there is a Google thing out there with your Google account. You have total access to Google Docs, which is a great alternative to Microsoft Word. I actually use Google Docs every single day. Google Sheets is a great alternative to Microsoft Excel. You have Google Slides, and that's your PowerPoint. And so if you don't need, say, workspace connectivity and storage, meaning for like if it's an enterprise, just sign up for a Google account and then just use Google Docs, Sheets, or Slides. Now, If you're saying like, I really want an office type program because I feel more comfortable with an office suite, that's when you're going to want to look at something called LibreOffice, and that's LIBRE, office.org. It's open source. It's totally free. They just did a massive update, by the way. We wrote about it in one of our newsletters the other day. And with that, you get Microsoft Word. It's called Writer. Calc is Excel. Impress does slideshows. Draw also is part of it. And that's illustrations, flow charts, and graphics. And yes, I said draw, like drawer, draw. Like I can't never say that. I'm from New Jersey. DRAW. And then there's also Base, which is a database program. So either look at Google or look at LibreOffice, and then you're going to be good to go, and you're going to be saving yourself $99 a year because you don't need to buy Microsoft Office. You don't need to do that. All right, let's see. Let me look at the clock. We can squeeze in another great call. Richard in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, you've had, I've been enjoying some of your, or a lot of actually, of your tips on iPhones and PCs and whatnot. But recently you had an article on deleting TikTok, and not to mention some other apps from your devices. Right. And, because of the acquisition of personal information. My question regards, though, what happens, if anything, if I receive, and I have been receiving, forwards of TikTok videos from other people, and I'm sure they probably received it from somebody first. So if I get that and watch it, is there any risk to me of the Chinese getting in information from my device?
Yeah, but not as bad as if you had TikTok and they get copies of every single thing that you do on your phone, and your voice print and your facial ID and your photos, your videos. And again, it's all going back to communist China. If you just watch this video, what they're going to get is your browser type, the browser that you're using, information about your phone, whether it's an iPhone 12, 13, Huawei, Google Pixel, whatever it is, and your IP address. And the IP address ties you to your location because every unique gadget has an IP address. Now, there is something else that they might be able to get, is something called pixels. And that's really kind of an interesting thing. You have companies like Meta, Microsoft, and Google. They use these things called pixels to track users, and so does TikTok. So you watch that video, there's a pixel that's going to be tracking you too. And that's where they may get some searches when you visit different sites and if you put anything into your shopping cart or anything like that. Now, TikTok says that they do use pixels, but they say that it's just, quote unquote, aggregated, meaning that we don't really know it's Richard in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's what they say, but I don't believe them. I have trouble believing them. So there's really no way to really know how they're using those pixels. But the bottom line is that if you just watch that TikTok video and you don't have TikTok installed, they're still getting information about you, about your browser, your phone information, and again, your IP address. Yeah. They're always watching. Richard, thank you for your call. Yeah, and the government's still trying to figure out what to do with TikTok in all the various states. And Montana actually has banned TikTok, and people are they're saying like, hey, we make money being on TikTok. What are we going to do now? So now they're threatening to sue the state to get TikTok back. Yeah, it's just one big Chinese spy app. That's exactly what it is. So let's say you want that expensive coffee machine, but it's over $1,000, and you're like, I wonder if I could get it cheaper. I wonder if I should be looking under Amazon Renewed. Yes, that's buying refurb. It's a second chance at a first impression. It's expertly refurbished products at low prices. And now to check out the goods, you're not going to find it on the main menu. You have to go to Amazon.com/renewed. That's Amazon.com/renewed. And there you're going to find phones, laptop, headsets, that coffee maker, whatever it may be that you want. Now, when you buy refurb products, you don't know the full history. That's the problem. So anything could be described as like new when it's not. So that's why it's super important that I pass along this other tip, because there are no set rules to grade refurbished product. So that's why you need to know the return window when purchasing. Once again, that address is Amazon.com/renewed. Amazon.com/renewed. Again, you have to type that in. You're not going to find it on the product menu. Now, if you learned one thing, if you laughed just once, make sure that you tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show and the Kim Komando Today podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can find me at Komando.com.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.